Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I am Crypto Tyke and I am the inflation avoider. Now, I'm going to be talking about what's gone on so far in crypto and what I'm expecting to happen. Obviously, I'm doing this on a Sunday and it will go out on Monday, but I thought I'd start by addressing some of the comments that I've had in my videos and shorts. Now, I will just say this is not like from subscribers. It's from normal people who view stuff and the types of people that you would describe as trolls. Now, I don't describe anybody who disagrees with me as a troll. I'm not that type of person. People will disagree with me and have different opinions, and that I understand, it's fine. But what I'm talking about is people usually not the smartest in the tree. Now, people who can pick fault in anything, right? That doesn't make you smart. That makes you as thick as the next person, because when you can pick faults in anything, anybody can do that. What takes intelligence is actually being able to find out the reasons why they've gone about doing what seems blindingly obvious to you in a different way, because usually there's good reasons for doing that. Now, one of the comments was to do with me selling Injective, and they're saying, oh, well, that's a new mistake, selling Injective. And then they were saying about, but what told me they hadn't watched the video and just seen the title was that they had assumed that I'd put it into things that hadn't already moved. Now, granted, a little bit went into Kaspa, which would be classed as that, but I'd put it into Solana, Ethereum, and things like that, because I wanted to make sure I had guaranteed money. Injective, like he said in the comment, actually said it with such certainty, which is the bit that makes me laugh. It's going to $75. Well, you don't know that, but I was aware. In the unlikely event it goes to $75, I might kick myself for it, but I think I'll be better off anyway, because I'm not certain it's going there, and he'll probably end up riding that all the way back down when it doesn't quite hit the $75 he's looking for, because that's what I'll call moon boys tend to do. They're looking for one coin with a certain price and they're expecting that to moon, and it doesn't happen, and they get pissed off and end up losing all the money and don't even end up taking profits, let alone decent profits they could have got off of that coin. So even if they have a decent coin, they don't really know what to do with it. And people who are subscribed to this channel, I think, are a lot smarter and understand the concept of wealth building as opposed to chasing or gambling more than anything else. So you're just chasing one coin to make all your money, then you're doing the wrong thing, because you're lessening your chances of making money if that thing that you've got planned doesn't go to plan. So I decided that out of everything that I hold, my money was better rotated into those while we prepare for the next leg up, rather than having it stuck on Injective. And it was a decision I've made. It's already, I'm already seeing profits from doing that, so straight away it's paying off. But they're unrealised profits at the moment, because they are on things like Solana, Ethereum and whatnot, and that's just the way it goes. So there is method behind that, me doing that, because nobody knows it's going to $75, right? It might do, I'm not saying it won't, but nobody knows. And I've got to look at where I could be better positioned on things that I've got more confidence in, and that is a crucial part of making sure you protect your wealth as well as anything else. So yeah, Moonboy's chasing coins. This channel probably not for you, because I'm not just randomly chasing things that have got hype that might or might not moon by 100x. If life was that simple, everybody would be doing it. Trust me. It's not that simple. You can't guarantee anything you're holding is going to 100x, but there are certain ones that are alts that you've got a fair bet that this more likely than not, is going to go up, and it's going to deliver me decent profits rather than chasing a price, never getting there, and riding it all the way back down again. And that's what happens if you have set price targets and are not doing things as the market moves and looking at the markets. Then there's a fair chance you're not going to hit your price targets. And when it doesn't, you're thinking, on the next leg up it'll meet it, and the next leg doesn't come. So you let it fall, and you're like, no, it's still going to do it. And before you know it, all that profit has whittled away, and you end up getting rid of your injective at very little compared to what you sold it, maybe even at a loss, because you've just waited it out thinking one day this is going to $75. But, if it does, fair play, but I've got to weigh up risk versus reward. I don't have unlimited funds, and most people don't have unlimited funds, so it's better to be smart about where you put your money rather than dreaming of moons. If you just go buy a lottery ticket, if you're wanting to make millions out of your whatever you put in, go bet on a horse, go bet on Man City, put all your money on Man City to win, or something like that, Liverpool to win. It's a fair chance you'll win that, but there is that tiny chance they might lose that game you bet on. But hell, not much difference. So I'm not going to be telling people, put all your money in this, put all your money in that, because I wouldn't put all my money in anything. I spread it. As well as spreading it, I don't want to have too many, because that just waters down the portfolio and my potential earnings. So you've got to pick them really, really carefully. And they've got to have specific purpose as well when you're picking what you're putting your money on. Some of them are secure earners that are going to be the workhorse and guarantee your profits. That those are safe. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. And other ones that are the mid caps, and then a few low cap speculative ones where if they moon, you'll let them go, you'll ride them up, see how high they can go, and hopefully get some decent profits out of them that could be life-changing. But you can't just throw everything at it. I'm not just in it for this alt season. I'm thinking a long-term plan. I'm thinking 5, 10, 15 years even ahead. I want to have a comfortable retirement, and I want to be as comfortable as possible, so my money matters where it goes, and I'm carefully thinking about it. Now, another thing I did see, which was quite amusing actually, it was in a short, and funnily enough, it was somebody who had Kaspa in the name. Obviously, a bit bummed out by the fact that I've been realistic about Kaspa, and it's not like I haven't got more Kaspa now, by the way, than I had when I sold that 40% that I did. I've actually got more, but a better price, and my average price is quite tidy. I'm quite happy with that. So I'm still a big fan of Kaspa. I am right behind it, but it is early days with it. Now, this guy, he says, you get everything wrong. And it's like, it was on a video where I predicted that Bitcoin, I said that you don't have to be Nostradamus to predict that Bitcoin is going to break its all-time highs in October, and then said that, can I see it happening by the end of the week? I said, yeah, it could happen, and that he took that as me being wrong for some reason, yet I was only 24 hours out, so, it's not exactly badly wrong, is it? So, fucking hell, I gave you when it had happened, when it was sat at 121, so it happened, and as we speak, it's testing the, it's falling back. As I said in a short, I said it'll fall back, and then it's going to try it and break out again, and that will see Uptober follow, proper Uptober. Now, getting onto Uptober, when I'm talking about things, I tend to be talking more focused when I'm talking broadly. I'm aware that a lot of people have low caps and mid caps, yeah. So when I'm talking about Uptober, that's what I'm mainly focusing on, because I know Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum are going to, be ahead by quite some way in many ways, you know. So they're the exception to the rule more than anything else. I'm talking about people who are holding mid caps and, you know, most 99% of other alts out there. And what happened is, so far I'm right about Uptober, because those you know, the all the other alts aside from them are just getting back to what they was at before the September down happened, which again I saw coming and I called it, and I said, I warned you, and that's when I sold some AVAX. And so I was right about that, and I said that we would see the September get bearish because it was overdue and we were at that level. So I was right about that. So as for October, some could argue I'm wrong about October because those top coins have gone up early from like the 1st of October. However, if you look at the rest of your portfolio, everything is now just at that level where it was before it went down. So that's not October, it's October when it surpasses those levels that they're at now. We're on that edge where it needs Bitcoin probably to push on past that high again and start putting in bigger numbers than that, maybe get to 130 and above before October starts. That's how I see it, and that applies to the vast majority of altcoins out there, not just I'm not talking about Ethereum and Solana. You know, we're talking about the vast majority out there. And so far, that's where we're at. We are just back at a level we were. That isn't October. That's just making up to where we were. It's when they all smash above that October can officially be said to begin. So I'm correct so far. And at the moment, we're at a really, really fine point where if Bitcoin doesn't break back above that 124, 125 level, and put in, say, 128 at least, then what we'll see, as we've seen with now Bitcoin just coming down a little bit, if that hits and fails to surpass its all-time high and comes down again, October will be delayed by another week or so. You know, so I said it won't happen immediately, and we're a week in now, and we are back to where we were. And that's not started as far as I was concerned and as far as my calculations were going. Mine is when it surpasses that and we move on to the next leg of ups for our altcoins. So far, there's nothing to say I'm wrong. You know, that little bit has come in a little bit earlier for them, but that's to be expected. But for the vast majority, if you look at your portfolios, Kaspa holders, look at where you are. Boom, you know, you're just making it back. October starts for you really at 9 cents. So that's where you need to be. So I've been right again about not being, you know, if you'd sold at 9 cents or just shy 9 cents, you'd have been able to buy shit tons more. And I was right about that, and that's what I've done. So I'm able to buy and be better off for it. So I've got more Kaspa than I had when I sold that 40%, waiting for the next leg. Because with Kaspa, like I said, there is a lot of hope for it. It does have that potential. You know, I'm not denying that. And it is at a very good price right now. I think it's 7 cents and 6. You know, 7 cents and 7. Anything up to 8 cents, even up to 8.5, you're probably all right to be buying. But that puts you nicely positioned in. But in that period, you could have made a bit of profit to be able to have extra liquidity to buy Kaspa if it's just Kaspa you're wanting to buy. And that's exactly what I did. And it worked. So what am I expecting for Kaspa? I'm hoping, you know, it will start to push on this October, and it needs to go above that 9 cents level comfortably, and I think it will. I think we now will start to see a bit of progress for Kaspa. So it is good if you're buying at this price. There's nothing wrong with it. get, in fact, I, I'm not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but this is a good price to be buying it at the moment. Could it drop a little bit again over the course of this week? It's always possible with Kaspa. So keep a bit of liquidity spare, but at this stage, while it's in the 7.5 zone, I think you're getting decent value for your money anyway, whether it slips to lower sevens or not. You know what I mean? If it slips into the sixes, But realistically now, I am expecting Casper, depending on what happens with Bitcoin. So it is dependent on that. If Bitcoin pushes on, so will Casper, and we should see Casper putting in 8.5 to 9 and upwards and above that for October. And you could see some light at the end of that tunnel, but it's still a bit of a way to go. But at least you've been able to get in relatively cheap and buy them dips rather than not having any liquidity to buy these dips. So good on you if you've been able to do that. But like I say, for those that have just been holding, that's where my issue was. It's just as simple as, look guys, these opportunities when it was high before to have been able to sell and be able to buy more Casper in the long run, which is exactly what I did. Now I'm more buying than selling zone. I'm buying Casper. That's what I'm doing. I don't mind if the price drops a little bit because I know I'm getting this at a solid price where my average price looks nice and tidy and I'm happy. So yeah, fill your boots, guys. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, I know the people who subscribe to me, you guys understand detail, you understand these nuances. It's just people who read the titles of the videos and leave comments. They're not the sharpest people in the box, they're not the sharpest tool in the box, and they just tend to read headlines, whereas you guys read the details and listen and watch the details and understand it, because you're a bit smarter than those people who are chasing one coin to moon. That's just stupidity. And you've got to always be aware. Of course I'm going to be wrong. Absolutely I'm going to be wrong. But if I can be making profits, that's all that matters. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about, am I in profit? Am I making good money out of it? And if I am, then doing something right. And if you're doing the same thing, that's great. But what you'll find more often than not with people who just chase moonshots, they end up being exit liquidity for other people. So that's what happens. Don't just chase moons. Don't just chase coins. The next big thing. Don't just be looking for the next big thing. You need to be looking for what can make you money now. And that's all I'm saying. It's not rocket science. And make sure you don't put your targets so high that you're not taking profits, because more than likely everyone, it's like, what I understand about myself is that I'm ultra critical. So I'll talk things down rather than up, and be aware of that. I will talk things down rather than up. Now I do that, it doesn't mean I'm not buying them. Just because I'm saying Casper is not a long way off being that moon price of $10, $20, $30 doesn't mean I'm not buying it when there's dips. I'm just sensible with it. That's all it's about. And I also set price targets in my head, kind of thing. I don't have set price targets that I'm going to take at this. It's all down to how the market's working and what the situation is. Because, like I said, you guys who have got like $1 or $2 as a price target for Casper, there's a fair chance that is going to end up more realistically being 50 cents, 44 cents, or 75 cents, just shy of it. And if you're not aware of that, and you're not like laddering out, so I'm not saying you don't sell it all at the price that I might be saying. You sell a little bit and then just see what happens and see what happens again. DCA out. Be sensible with it. But people who aren't very bright, they think those prices that they're convinced it's going to go to will happen. Whereas people who are smart know that they're probably not going to get what they expect. So be prepared, for it to be under that, and be pragmatic about it rather than emotional. And I always say this, the Moon Boys, they're emotional. Look at what the things they say. They get pissed off easy and get offended easy about shit. And they're really uppity about when people aren't saying positive things all the time. Now, anything that's realistic, So, for us, when you've got emotional intelligence, and I'm not saying I am, that is for you to judge, not me. That is for more intelligent people than me to judge. I can't say whether I am or not, but I try to be. And it's about keeping a level head and understanding your own, that 50% of the time we're all wrong. That is probably good average of how often we're all right. Only those who have got low emotional intelligence think they're right 95% of the time, when in reality you're probably right 50% of the time, and that's just how it works. Anyway, I've given my little speech for today. Thank you to everybody that's subscribed so far. I've now had confirmation I'll be able to do live, so that's really helped. So big thanks to all of you that's subscribed so far. I'm still only a tiny channel, so do subscribe if you haven't already. There's plenty to talk. There's massive journey to follow in crypto, with my personal journey and also our journey trying to make money and change our lives. So hit that subscribe button. Do take a moment to hit the like button because it really helps with the algorithm. It's really strange how the numbers work, funnily enough. So hit that like button and leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are and what your strategy is. Have you got a strategy, a plan in mind? And are you aware that it might not get to where you think it'll get, but you've got a plan B and a strategy to make sure you do get profits and you do make money out of alt season? Let me know all that in the comments. Anyway, thank you very much for putting up with me again. And I will catch you guys later. Bye-bye.